Hi, my name is Andrea Campbell, and I'm an author, e-teacher, and deep dive researcher. Welcome to Boomers and Up, where we provide commentary and product reviews on all things aging so that you can be a super ager. Today's topic is about portion sizes because many people get it wrong. So let's investigate this further and stick around at the end for the bonus. Question: years of yo-yo dieting? You may not be eating the best foods, but it could be the portion sizes that's holding you back. Let's suss this out. What's the difference between a serving size and a portion size? Well, the portion size is what you want to eat. The serving size, whether it's 1 cup, 1 slice, or a teaspoon, that's what's on the label. Here's the kicker. Food labels are made by the manufacturer, so they might not match the dietary guideline. You know the one. It used to look like a pyramid, but now it's the USDA MyPlate. First, getting an idea of individual portions is difficult, so it might help you to get a visual picture of what they represent. For example, 1 cup would be the size of a baseball, a tennis ball, a yo-yo, or an ice cream scoop. For a half cup representation, you could use half a baseball, a light bulb, a billiard ball, or 2 golf balls. For sports fans, there are a lot of different types and sizes of bagels, but for the regular portion size, it's more like a hockey puck. Think of a gooey, cheesy pizza. I'd like to see the expression on your face when you find out that 1 ounce of cheese is equivalent to 3 dice. For 3 ounces of meat, such as beef, poultry, or fish, your representation could be a deck of cards, a box of crayons, or a small package of tissues. These are things that you might have around your house. It would be good to use as a comparison when you're actually dishing things out. For those of you that don't have a bunch of objects around the house, there is a chart that uses your hand as a representation. For example, an apple would be a closed fist. But don't cheat. You can't use the Hulk's hand or the Jolly Green Giant. You get the point. We all overeat, but at least now you can have a visual representation for what the serving size should actually be like. That ought to help you out. You know, I'd like to tell a story about what happened to me in eating. I became a vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean-style cooker, and I make a lot of things from scratch. Consequently, as I put together recipes, I used these different serving sizes and decided that, oh my God, we were eating way too much food. It helps if you're a baker and you make things from scratch, or you prepare things on the stove in a big pot. When you serve things, now you can have a visual representation of what might be better for your health and your diet and your life. Info drop. I went to high school in the late 60s, and for what I can remember, I lived in a suburb and it was a medium-sized school. We had a pretty large class. I can only remember 2 girls and 2 guys that were overweight. And if you go back and look in your own yearbook, you might be able to see the same thing. Everyone was uber skinny. And I can't believe, I used to think I was so fat, and yet I go back and look at these pictures and we were all very thin. Why is this happening? What happened with serving portions? Why such a contrast today? Well, in the 1970s, the average American ate 2,160 calories. Today, it's more like 2,673 calories, which is 25% more. How did that happen? Well, a lot has to do with serving sizes and what happened in the 1970s. There was a lot of competition for foods, and people started making portions larger. For example, the chicken industry wanted a larger chicken breast, so they began giving chickens hormones. And of course, it made the chicken breast bigger, and they were able to compete with other people in the market. But the food became so adulterated, things were getting larger and larger, and people were eating more and more. They didn't even really notice it. It was kind of a gradual thing. But in containers, they also added a lot of corn syrup. And corn syrup is just like pumping sugar into your veins. The thing of it is corn syrup was cheap and it was plentiful. And in those years, they even paid farmers not to grow corn because there was so much of it. So this stuff is sitting in silos, and they turn it into corn syrup and figure, we'll put it in this can, or we'll put it in spaghetti sauce, and that person will use less major ingredients, and the can will be larger, and they won't even know. It'll be sweeter, and they'll like it so much better. So this has happened with almost everything. And two, when the competition got into gear and people were competing for how to sell this and how to sell that, the food was plentiful, the war had been a long time ago, restaurants got into the picture. So when you went, like, I remember a McDonald's hamburger was like this big, and it was 35 cents. Now it turned into a Big Mac with multiple layers and all these ingredients. And that is what happened in the restaurant industry. Now, when you go into Chili's, instead of getting a normal sized plate with your meat and vegetable, you're getting a large oval plate. You're like tripling the calories. And of course, your mother taught you to belong to the Finish Your Plate Club. And so you do. And we're like dogs. We keep on eating. And that's one of the reasons that our girth has expanded and there's so much obesity. Not to mention, but corn syrup being sugar has created a lot of additional diabetics. And we don't want to be a part of that group. That just leads to trauma. Horrible things happen to you physically, and it's not a good way to go. So what we have to do is rein it in. Let's make the portions more reasonable. You will get used to it. If you eat a good variety of foods, you know, your meat, your not too many carbs, don't carb up, but more vegetables and fruits in a regular size, you know, try a smaller dish. That will help a lot. And then you'll learn to finish what's on your dish and be satiated. So the thing of it is you have control. You can take care of this whole thing. Cut your portion serving sizes down, and you will start to see slenderization. Hey, another story. I found a really cool item on Amazon that I didn't even know existed. It's this. If you're taking measurements that are for really small things, whether it's medicine or even recipes, this is so great. This is a drop, then there's a smidgen, then there's a pinch, a dash, and a tad. Who knew that this cool thing was on the market? Thanks for being here. I'm going to try and help you from the feet on up, ages 50 on up. So look for more of our videos as we work our way through my e-course, Beat Back Aging, living better to live older in great shape, looking terrific, and being the best version of yourself at any age. I'd love to hear your feedback in a comment or suggestion about what you're interested in having us cover. If you got value from our video, please hit the like button. Also, if you're new here, think about subscribing. Thanks. We'll see you in the next video.